Hello guys, it is that panda guy and I'm here again with another video, and today we are going to be going through the process that we went through. This isn't really going to be us making the comeback yet. This is more going to be what we were doing and what we were trying to do to actually stall for time. I did actually miss hours of footage, I think, or I at least cut out a lot of footage. For example, there was a 2 hour rally that went on one of our towers. I of course didn't record the full time. I also, gotta mention that I do have limited space in my camera roll. I try to get as much footage as possible during these events, so I can give you guys as much as possible. So honestly, I didn't want my camera roll to fill up. And yeah, so I do hope you guys enjoy this video, and we are going to be talking about what we were doing here. So basically, in our process after we did all that field fighting, I kind of burnt out really fast. And it wasn't that I couldn't fight more, but if I did, I was going to burn out too fast, right? Like I wouldn't be able to heal on towers anymore. I wouldn't be able to defend. And I knew I didn't want to cripple myself on the field, right? Like too fast. And I know these guys have two alliances with insane field presence. Although I do mention, that I really disliked SMHS right here. I will admit that these guys definitely were strong fighters. They knew what they were doing. They were really smart players, and this made our job that much harder. So here you guys see us, or our tower getting rallied, right? And basically our game plan was to actually build along their towers, and I knew that we had the troops to keep these towers full. And our big issue that we end up having is spreading the garrison captains, right? And what I was actually planning to do was I was going to try to take out a weak link, meaning that if we spread their garrison, their garrison captain into too many flags, that this would have made it really hard for them to defend. And I will say that they had two tier 6 players. And if you guys don't know, I'm not at tier 6 yet because I don't really spend much, and it takes forever to get to that level. And I'm really close, so we'll say that for range. But either way, the point is I'm not at the same level of tech as these guys. They have better gear than me. So in almost every rally we are taking losses, and that's one of the big issues. And we are trying to minimize our losses, go as fast as possible. I'm trying to spread our garrison captains into as many towers as possible. So we had Impushy in one, we had 9 in one, we had me in one, probably 2 on each actually, because I actually end up taking the 2 hour rally with a garrison captain, which I actually am kind of sad I took with, because I would have rather taken it with Tom and Peterson, but I had actually left Tom and Lewis in the tower. And I will say I took worse trades than I could have if I had Tom and Peterson there, because it was really hard for me to keep that tower full during those 2 full hours, because during those 2 full hours I was defending 4 or 5 towers. I was fighting on multiple fronts. We were getting pushed from behind because they were building and beelining towards our flank, so I was forced to actually defend our mid area as well as on our flank. And I don't want to say I was forced to defend like it was only me. You guys see a lot of these people active in chat. You see them actively defending, and I do really appreciate my alliance. They were really active. They showed up really hard here. We had Tala, we had Nine, we had Impushy, we had all these other players, even smaller ones who were willing to participate. Some maniacs who were fighting on the field. We had some maniacs trying to help me swarm this tower, and I didn't want them swarming because, of course, they were going to take really bad trades. And I did try to swarm this when I saw the garrison captain, but these guys were so fast at making sure these towers didn't burn, and I would just get as good trades as possible and try to get out. That was what my game plan was. I will also say that it was not the best time for us, since it was actually in the middle of the night. It was probably 4 or 5 at this point, because we had been fighting for a little while and we were still trying to build along their side. We were building along their towers, trying to spread them into as many garrisons as possible. And I will say this actually put us in a pretty rough spot at some point, because one thing is, our players were teleporting up into the, deeper territory. So when we actually started having to give up, if we gave up these towers, for example, on the back, we would have that all cut off and my players would be doomed. And I was actually holding on for dear life at some point, because I didn't want my players to, get burnt out. And it was really a struggle, especially later on when I was actually ready to give up and ready to back out. And these guys were just, rallying ruthlessly. And I will say that we weren't in the position where we could be rallying towers during our build, because these guys have tier 6 players, and like I said, we were taking bad trades on every tower already. If we're rallying into their towers, we're gonna be taking worse trades, more deads, and the trades are just going to be really bad. We're not able to maintain field control. It is really rough. And here, that is our biggest issue. We're not able to we're not able to do really anything except for take rallies, hold on as long as possible. And I was trying to buy time for our ally, and I was just trying to work my way down their towers and hopefully disconnect them. But they ended up beating me to it by, kind of building towards our flank, and I couldn't really do much because then I had to defend our flank, I had to defend our village, I had to defend the towers because I didn't want them to cut us off from behind and everybody to get zeroed who was on this territory, right? I also do want to thank, alliances like I said before, Vin and SLF. These guys actually were the reason I did come back in Island, and this comeback that we do in a later video, it won't be here, but it was made possible by these alliances because I was so discouraged after this. I was so just like disappointed. I was really sad and put down. And AC-18 was just defending rallies, and I was like, dude, I'm burnt out. I don't want to fight anymore. This like really just put me in a bad mood. And these guys messaged me and they were like, yo, what do you think about, us handling BTW? Because I will say one of the big issues was BTW. These guys were, kind of holding AC-18 down. I remember that, AC-18 was managing to, I think, burn their towers at one point, right? Because we were distracting them for so long and gave them enough time to wake up. But even then, BTW was pressuring them on the field, trying to keep them off that tower. And it was such a big issue. Like there was not much we could do because we couldn't get their help, and BTW was just holding them down. And I will say that's one of BTW's really solid points, is that although I will say they don't have like a core player who can match up to like a tier 6 guy and take really good trades against them, I want to kind of mention that these guys still do have like really strong field presence, and that was one of their big pluses, and that was what made it so hard to fight them. I feel like these guys were never off the field. Big props to them in like that category. It was really rough, and I mean, there wasn't really much we could do. Even if we kept swarming over there in the field, we'd really just burn out really fast. And BTW, I mean, they just like would just pressure us until we got like run off the field, and it was just really problematic. So when I heard that Vin and SOF was willing to work with us and take down BTW while AC-13 and Prime were managing to, hold off these guys, because the thing is, SMHS actually kind of backed off us later on. And I think the reason was because they thought we weren't a threat. They saw we all left. And when I had like heard this, I was so ready to hop in because I didn't care what I lost. I didn't care what price it took. I didn't even care if we won, or like if we won in general, right? Like I did want our allies to at least win, like, and eventually we end up actually getting them, towards our flank on another day, trying to cut us off again because they were really pissed with us this time. And we managed to hold on somehow and give AC-18 time to kind of take them out of mid, and it was so massive. I'll put that in another video, guys, but I really was just like, it was pretty epic island when you really think about it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it was pretty awesome. You guys see kind of here, like our building towers are just getting rallied down, and I was trying to keep them full. That's why you see me port up tins over here. But yeah, I mean, honestly, having Vin and SOF agree to hold BTW down and force them to focus on towers was so massive to us actually winning this. So like, I feel like so much props goes out to these alliances that were managing to hold down just this field presence monster that we were faced with. So, I do really want to just like show my gratitude in that regard. These guys were just massive, and like I said, I wouldn't have been encouraged enough to come back onto the island. So even if they all fought them together, like I still wouldn't have had, I still wouldn't have felt like coming into the island until they reached out to me. So I was just really grateful to these guys. I mean, of course, a lot of them might have had, their own motives for fighting, but it still was an insane battle. And it was really fun at the end of the day, even if we had to deal with all this drama that kind of ruined a lot of the event. Also, I don't know if you guys see where that marker is in the top left. That is the tower that's going to get rallied for 2 hours straight. We had 2 million deaths on both sides being, and the thing is, I will say we traded really poorly on that tower because, like I said, I didn't even have the best garrisons that I could have had in there. And, although we both traded for 2 million deads, we actually had to heal like 3 million troops, I think, where they only had to heal like 1 point, for example, I don't know, 1.5 or 1.3 million, something along those lines. So our heal rate was so much higher, and it just hurt, it hurt. And taking on these tier 6 players with their gear as well, like these guys just had way better parts. There was not much we could do in these rallies, or if they were garrison captains, it was a really rough situation, and that's why we kind of had to spread them out. And that's what was really good about, us working with AC-18, was the fact that we were able to actually take their focus off them, give them enough time to burn them out of mid. And, the thing is, SMHS had this whole mindset, at least from what I had heard in chat, that, oh, we got wronged, so we're gonna go full ham, which, of course didn't make sense to me because, they backstabbed us, but, they wanted to freaking go ham on us because they felt like we wronged them, so they really wanted, like, their revenge. And I mean, hey, I don't think they really got their revenge. I mean, they traded well on the towers. I did get some really good trades on those swarms, so I do think it made up for like a lot of the tower trades we might have had. But even then, like, you guys get the point, right? Like, those deads were actually kind of nasty though in this freaking tower swarms. This is why I like spreading out garrison captains and as many flags as possible, because the second I catch one without like a proper garrison captain or a tier 6 player, I run over there and I just start swarming it down, trying to get the easiest kills ever, and of course, like, the lower it gets, the more kills I'm earning really fast, and these guys are trying to fill it, meaning I'm like just feeding to my kill pool. Though a lot of these towers, I just wasn't able to burn because they managed to just port up and start filling it in time, which was really rough. I will also say I really wanted 9 on a lot of these towers. It was hard because 9 has way better tech than me. He has tier 6 infantry, tier 6 range as well. So that kind of gives you an example. His like tech is maxed in those regards. Of course, his gear isn't as good, but either way, he would have been taking way better trades on a lot of these towers. So I do wish that he was taking on the 2 hour rally, which was really rough. I will say, like, I feel like Tom and Peterson, or Regro and Peterson, are really good, especially in like long tower rallies like these, where it's really hard to keep them full, especially in our situation where we're kind of defending on a lot of fronts. So you guys kind of get the point. Like, we were really spread out and we couldn't rely on AC-18 at this point because, like I said, a lot of them were sleeping, as well as the fact that, I mean, they were just getting held down by BTW for those that weren't sleeping. Like, these guys hit us at night. Like, it was such a bad time. It was Chinese time zones versus ours. So the second that I woke up, they were going to sleep for the most part. The second, like, I was going to sleep, they were waking up for the most part. I don't even know, man. Like, of course, I didn't actually go to sleep a lot of these nights. Like, I would sleep sometimes during the day. Like, my sleep schedule was really messed up. You guys could, like, ask anybody here, but I was online almost 24/7. I only had, like, selective, like, times that I would kind of either pass out or I would just have a few hours off, because after this whole fight I had a 4 hour sleep, and I think anxiety actually woke me up, which is really sucky, but I got anxious in my sleep. I don't know, I woke up. But yeah, that is almost the end of this video. So I do appreciate you guys for watching as always, and I do hope you guys enjoyed. You guys are going to be able to see a little bit of a comeback either in the next video or the video after. I will be trying to include as much as possible. I'll be trying to, speed it up and make it as not boring as possible. But I do thank you guys as always for watching, and peace out. It's been a pleasure, and I thank you guys.